Thanks everyone, thanks for coming. We're very, very excited to be part of the round 2 of CivVic Labs. So WorkSafe, you probably read this online. Our challenge is how can emerging technologies keep Victorians safe at work? I'm part of the Innovation Center at WorkSafe, and we are part of a big transformation program. And before I jump into what we mean by emerging technologies, I just want to go back a little bit and talk about work and what work means for WorkSafe. We all know that work plays a big part in everyone's life. It's a source of challenge, purpose, social connection, and it enables us to support our families and lifestyles. The other important thing is in Victoria we have 2.8 million workers, and this number is set to rise to 4 million workers by 2030. It's also known that new technologies, new ways of working are changing the very nature of work. We have now for the first time 4 generations working together in the same workplace. We have the gig economy impacting how work is being done, and this is presenting challenges and also opportunities. If we think about how regulation works in that space, a lot has to change. Although the environment is changing, injuries and fatalities continue to happen. Just last week, we had a worker that died in a construction site in Ballarat. And the other part of the health and safety space that is a bit scary is the rise of mental health injuries. Today, 12% of the reported injuries are mental injuries, and that number is set to rise to over 30% of the reported injuries. What's the impact on that? WorkSafe is apart from being a regulator, is also an insurance scheme, and takes a lot longer to recover from mental health injuries than physical injuries. And so it's a big risk for us. And in WorkSafe, our mission is, our purpose is to have Victorians workers return to work, return home safely every day. That's what we exist for. And we know that the community and this new environment expects us to act in a different way. And if I go and give a step back and explain what WorkSafe is in practice. So we basically manage 2 big pieces of legislation. We do a little bit more than that, but in one side, we are the state's regulator for health and safety, and on the other side, we manage the workers' compensation insurance scheme. For this opportunity, for this challenge, we're going to be focusing on this first side, the health and safety regulation side. The reason for this is that we believe there's a big opportunity to tackle some really big challenges in the Victorian economy. WorkSafe is moving in a big transformation program to strengthen the workplace safety, and is anchored on 2 key principles. The first one is becoming a prevention-led organization, and the second one is being client-centric. And this challenge, it's right in the middle of that. We need to become more prevention-led by developing and engaging with new technologies, and also make sure that those technologies are client-centric during its development. Today, how do we do prevention? We have inspectors going out to businesses in Victoria every single day, inspecting and looking at the compliance on health and safety regulation. We also have programs that we develop to assist specific industries in preventing injuries, communication, and educational programs. What we are looking for on this challenge is startups that can help us do one of the 2 things. One is augment the current prevention strategies that we have in place, so augmenting the work of inspectors, augmenting how we do better prevention programs, or as Andrew said, I'm going to use your pie chart, helping us identify the things that we don't know, that we don't even know we don't know. So what are those opportunities? We are open to that as well. So what are some key stats on injuries to give you a little bit more context? The best way for us to look at this is, instead of looking at overall injuries, we want to look at what are the high-risk industries that are causing the most number of injuries. So in Victoria, we have 27,000 reported injuries last year. Over 60% of those injuries came from construction, agriculture, manufacturing, public administration, health, and transport. What is even scary, if you look at the number of fatalities in the last 6 years, look at the agriculture here. It's a disproportionate amount of fatalities when you compare to even the number of workers in the economy. Only 3% of the workers are in agriculture, but we have almost 50% of all fatalities in that industry. So that's really, really concerning. And we know that this number here is probably higher, but we don't, in agriculture, there's not a culture of reporting incidents as there is in construction and health and in other industries. So a little bit more context in terms of what those injuries means, how those injuries happen. I'm just going to have to refer to my notes here, but some of the more traditional injuries like manufacturing, construction, and even agriculture struggle with body strains and slip, trips, and falls, which is more traditional physical injuries. In agriculture, there's accidents with livestock, quad bikes, and tractors. It's a big, big risk. You might have seen some of our recent campaigns focusing on quad bikes. If you look at, for example, in health and public administration, we can see the rise of mental health types of injuries. So, for example, in health, apart from body stressing, we have a lot of occupational violence, aggression, and mental stress. And this is similar for public administration with a few more injuries on manual handling as well. So it's a big, big problem, but we believe there's some clear leverage points for us to have a significant reduction in injuries and fatalities in the state. So that takes me back, brings me back to our challenge. How can emerging technologies help keep workers safe? So as I said before, we are looking to partner with startups that can help us really drive this number down. If you work in one of those or willing to work in one of those high-risk industries, even better. And when you start working with us, you're going to be working with like-minded people. You're going to be partnering with the Innovation Center, which is a group in WorkSafe formed by designers, technologists, and a really diverse group of people, but also with access to our new data and analytics capability, subject matter experts. You will be able to go out with inspectors and understand a little bit more about the industry. We are really, really excited to work with you and happy to take any questions during Q&A. Thank you.